Greetings one and all, and welcome to Beyblade Central. So glad to see you here. For today's show opening and unboxing of a set I have been dying to get my hands on ever since it was revealed, the Drop Attack Battle Set. This set includes two bays, Impact Drake and Hover Wyvern, as well as a Hasbro exclusive stadium which has rails that lead up to a ramp that will allow the bays to drop and attack from above. This is a very interesting gimmick and is something I'm very glad Hasbro decided to do, since they were known for their fun gimmick stadiums, even if some were better than others. But regardless, the most common complaint about these stadiums is that the original base would work relatively well, if not better, than the butchered versions of those bays that Hasbro released. However, this is not a problem this time around, since both Hasbro and TT are 1-to-1. So I'm really glad that Hasbro decided to continue on with these really fun stadiums, because it's going to be a lot of fun to experiment and to have, actual real bays on these stadiums. So without further ado, let's just open this up and check out everything that's inside. Alright, since this is a stadium set, we do get a couple of things. The new stadium, two bays, and two launchers. Unfortunately, they are still the proto launchers, which I don't know about you, but I really hate the fact that even in these more pricey sets, we get these launchers that are just complete garbage. Moving on to the stadium itself, we have the Drop Attack Stadium, and I gotta say, I'm very glad that Hasbro is being 1-to-1 with TT and are still making these very fun gimmick stadiums, because they are just meant to be stupid fun and nothing more. I know the majority of bladers aren't too meta focused, so getting these type of stadiums is a very nice treat for us and a nice change of pace for these stadiums. The gimmick of this stadium is the extreme rail now leading to a ramp, which will send your bay flying across the stadium, which is pretty fun and is an interesting gimmick, which was even shown in the anime, which was nice. Unfortunately, while I do like the stadium's gimmick, I am a bit confused on the stadium itself. On one hand, very fun stadium which I can't wait to use for hours and hours, but on the other hand, the extreme rail being part of the stadium's mode means it's not durable as the other stadiums, so I am sure that as time goes on, it's very likely that the stadium will break and you will have to spend another $50 to get it replaced, which is a pretty hefty price. The details on the stadiums are also pre-applied stickers, which I don't mind too much, but it does suck that they aren't painted or printed on them on the stadium itself, since the stickers will wear and tear very quickly, I imagine, which is again another problem with durability that this set has. Another issue I have with it is the actual pocket size. The knockout zones are very tiny, so they do feel a bit useless in my opinion, and the extreme zone is also extremely small, and I definitely think that the wall between it and the knockout zones do not need to be this thick, since this is a pretty small stadium, which, while its overall size is similar to the standard Hasbro stadium, the actual play area is smaller, which does suck, but I guess it isn't a big deal, since of course the stadium is just for fun and nothing else. I definitely would have preferred it if it was a bit bigger, but I get it. I get why it's so small, but I really hope that in the future, if we get more of these gimmick stadiums, they are a bit bigger, because this is very small. I'm being honest, it is a lot smaller than I would have liked it. Moving on to the bays themselves, we have Impact Drake and Hover Wyvern. Impact Drake is a bay that was originally released as a deluxe starter from Hasbro, and it came with a gray launcher, which I didn't think Hasbro would have released. And sure enough, while Impact Drake was released, we never saw that gray string launcher. But you know what? I don't really care about it, since I do have one, but I don't use it. So, it's whatever. The bit Olar is a new Rush variant bit, which I would say is actually pretty on par with the original Rush. However, it is preferred over the original just because of that height difference. The ratchet is 960, which is a pretty good choice, since while it is a relatively old ratchet, it's still a very good ratchet, and the colors on it are really sleek and really nice. So yeah, not a bad ratchet. The blade is the UX variant of Cobalt Drake, which features rubbers to help it with its attack. Now, does it actually work? Not really, but it is still a very fun gimmick, and realistically speaking, it doesn't do much, but again, it doesn't really have to because the shape is already really good for attack. So the rubber is just a little added bonus, not really affecting performance wise all that much, but still, Cobalt Drake is still an incredible, Impact Drake is still an incredible attack type. So very glad to finally get Hasbro's version of this. Altogether, I would say it's definitely one of the best bases we've gotten so far in both terms of designs and competitively, since it comes with highly desired parts and a very nice design to it. And with this build, you can change the blade if you don't like Impact Drake for some reason. You could change the blade to something else like a Drawn Buster or Shark Edge, and you would still have a pretty good attack type combo. So yeah, very good in that aspect. However, Wyvern is the second bait we get from this set, and I gotta say, it's clear that all the budget for this set went to this bait. The needle bit, it really irritates me because it has nothing to do here. The original Wyvern wasn't a defense type, and even if you argue that the variant could have simply changed types, the needle bit doesn't work with the design pretty much at all, since it's too sharp to work with Hover Wyvern's more aggressive playstyle. So needle, really one of the literally the oldest defense type bit. Why are we still getting it for new releases? We should only be getting it in the form of recolors, not really for new releases, especially not Hover Wyvern. The Ratchet 385 is also another terrible part, but I will give it a pass since this is the first time we're getting 385 from Hasbro, and despite hating it, it does have a very nice color to it, which really makes me wish we have gotten something like 7 or 0, since those ratchets I would think would work a lot better with Hover Wyvern than 385. The actual blade, however, is definitely why most people are buying the set, because it comes with not only a Wyvern UX variant, but it's the first truly original Hasbro Bay. And just as I feared, it dominated the meta. Yeah, this blade pretty much has everything you want from a blade. Good weight, good attack, good defense, and good stamina. Since it's also a UX bay, all of its weight is focused towards the outer part of the bay, which really helps with stamina defense. So yeah, Hover Wyvern, a very sought after bay, and I've seen even people from Japan or other countries are importing this set just for Hover Wyvern, which I don't blame them. I would have done the same because Hover Wyvern, very nice. I also like that since most Hasbro exclusive bays still follow the same design philosophy as Burst Base in terms of the design, aka showing the avatar feature throughout the blade, not just the centered part. The two blades that Wyvern have are just straight up dragon wings, and the core on the blade is also a very odd pale green color, which I really like since it's not too often that Hasbro decides to do anything good. If I'm gonna be honest, a lot of the Hasbro original or Hasbro exclusive base are just retooling. I'm pretty average, I'm not gonna lie. Hover Wyvern though definitely blows it out of the park. Very good. And it being paired up with Impact Drake and people talking more about Hover Wyvern than Impact Drake, it just goes to show how cool and how highly desired Hover Wyvern is. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on any future uploads. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye bye.